Emmerdale delivers a major turning point for Dawn Fletcher as she walks away from Joe Tate. Emmerdale has finally given Dawn Fletcher a defining moment as she leaves her fiancé Joe Tate after uncovering his disturbing blackmail scheme. The twist comes shortly after reports that the character will be exiting the ITV soap. This development feels like a refreshing change, especially as Dawn's character has seemed lost in recent years. Her downward spiral began back in 2024 when her young son Evan was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Initially, both Dawn and Billy were shown struggling with fear and exhaustion as they tried to protect Evan and support him through treatment. However, the storyline soon faded from focus, leaving a noticeable gap in her character's journey. Instead, attention shifted to the arrival of Dawn's estranged mother, Rose. Although this briefly explored her past trauma, the narrative quickly moved away, focusing more on Will Taylor. Rose then disappeared, leaving their unfinished relationship unresolved. Just as the story should have returned to Evan's illness, Will's death shook the family, and Dawn's affair with Joe ultimately destroyed her marriage. Her involvement in a new relationship while her son was still unwell felt out of character for someone usually devoted to her children. It wasn't until much later that viewers learned Evan had successfully completed his treatment. Although this could have opened the door for meaningful development, Dawn still remained in the background. Apart from one powerful episode reflecting on her past struggles, her perspective has largely been overlooked. Her connections within the community also faded, with friendships disappearing and little attention given to her role in the wedding business she co-owns. Instead, much of her screen time has revolved around Joe and his increasingly troubling actions. From threatening her daughter to being involved in a deadly crash and other shocking behavior, his influence has dragged her character down. Even the revelation that Dawn once pushed Joe out of a window had little lasting impact, as their issues were never properly addressed. That changed when Dawn discovered footage of a violent incident involving Victoria and John Sugden. Realizing that Joe had secretly recorded it and was using it for blackmail, she finally took a stand, deleting the evidence and ending their relationship. Given her past experiences and the trauma she has endured, it felt fitting that Dawn was the one to challenge Joe and take back control. If this marks the start of her exit storyline, there is potential for a much stronger send-off. Rather than simply walking away, Dawn could take revenge on Joe for the damage he has caused to so many people. His actions have affected several residents, making a proper downfall long overdue. Dawn could expose him, force a confession, or even turn the tables in a dramatic way. Another possibility could involve someone from her past returning, giving her the chance to confront old wounds and reclaim her strength before leaving. There is also the unresolved chapter involving D.I. Malone, whose death still lingers in the background. Revisiting this could raise the stakes and add tension to her final storyline. Whatever direction the show chooses, it's clear that Dawn deserves a powerful exit. After everything she has been through, her departure should highlight her resilience and ensure her story ends on a memorable note. Emmerdale sets up a dramatic new chapter for Dr. Todd and Jacob. Emmerdale has delivered a shocking moment that paves the way for the next stage in Dr. Caitlin Todd and Jacob Sugden's storyline. After their working relationship collapsed earlier in the week, Jacob's situation only worsened as he continued to face harsh treatment from his demanding and critical boss. In a previous episode, Manpreet revealed to Dr. Todd that Jacob had been groomed by his former teacher, Moira, during his younger years. In the latest scenes, Jacob spoke with Kerry, who had confronted Dr. Todd earlier. He insisted that his boss wasn't targeting him, claiming instead that she was trying to guide him through mentorship. Back at work, things briefly appeared to improve. Jacob apologized for Kerry's interference, and Dr. Todd responded by explaining the level of dedication required to succeed in the medical profession, including the personal sacrifices involved. When she asked if he was truly prepared for that commitment, Jacob reassured her that he was willing to do whatever it takes. Dr. Todd replied that she simply expected him to perform his duties properly while reminding him that maintaining boundaries between personal life and work is essential. After making peace with Kerry, Jacob seemed to be back on track. However, the situation took a darker turn when Dr. Todd was later shown searching for information about Jacob's past involving Maya. Looking ahead to next week, Jacob is left stunned when he discovers that Dr. Todd has moved into the village, now living with Vanessa Woodfield. With his boss now so close to home, Jacob's troubles are far from over, especially as she goes on to make a shocking accusation about his behaviour, setting the stage for even more drama. Emmerdale sees Robert and Aaron pushed to their limits as they race to save Moira. At the beginning of 2026, Joe Tate got hold of crucial video footage showing Victoria Sugden covering up John Sugden's death. Using it as leverage, he pressured Robert Sugden and Victoria to hand over their family land or risk the truth being exposed to the police. Joe later discovered ID cards at Celia's farmhouse and forced Robert to plant them at Butler's farm, once again threatening to reveal Victoria's secret if he refused. Robert went through with it, which ultimately led to Moira Dingle being arrested. At the time, he had no idea that Celia was involved in serious criminal activity, and he was horrified to realize he had helped frame Moira. With no evidence to prove her innocence, Moira recently told Kane Dingle that she plans to plead guilty. Feeling hopeless, she believes this could give her a better chance of being released sooner for her son's sake. Aaron later learned of Moira's decision and passed the information on to Robert, who was overwhelmed with guilt. Determined to fix things, he teamed up with Ross Barton to try and expose Joe, but their plan quickly fell apart, especially after Dawn Taylor caught Robert in the act. When Aaron overheard Ross mentioning money Robert owed him, he uncovered the truth about Robert planting the IDs. Although shocked, Aaron decided not to reveal Robert's secret. Instead, he insisted they work together to find evidence that could clear Moira's name. In upcoming scenes, they track down a storage unit in Houghton, a key lead first hinted at earlier in the week. Cami Hadid confirms that an old car registration linked to Ray leads them to the unit. After searching through multiple containers, Robert, Aaron, Paddy Kirk, and Mackenzie Boyd finally locate the right one. Inside, they uncover a large amount of paperwork connected to Celia and Ray, giving Moira's family hope that it could prove her innocence. However, it remains uncertain whether this discovery will be enough to save her. At the same time, Robert's confession adds further strain to his relationship with Aaron, leaving questions about what the future holds for them as the situation unfolds. Emmerdale is shown on weekdays at 8 p.m. on ITV1, with episodes also available to stream on ITVX.